Jeff, could you open the ball here by giving us your general perspective on how the people in this room can and should be in television?
It's an interesting time because the networks, I mean, not just in this country, but in all countries, are the ad-supported model is challenged because of the volume of channels out there. Ratings have gotten lower, which means that we have to find ways to program in a portfolio approach that makes it more affordable. We can't have every show on our network. At NBC, for the most part, we are a license fee business. We license runs of shows, and if it's an inexpensive drama, it'll be $1.8 million per episode in a license fee. On a production side, we will pay between $3 and $5 million per episode to produce an episode of television. Pilots, very, very expensive process, and a pilot can be $5 million, $10 million just to see a pilot. And so I was at ABC for 24 years. I just recently moved to NBC, and we started this at ABC years ago, trying to come up with that portfolio approach of how do we get shows that are at multiple price points so that we can afford the really expensive shows. Let's find some shows that are financed in a different model so that we can have some shows that are, I hate calling them low cost because that makes it sound like they are less of a show. We like to use maybe the hotel model, premium, superior, deluxe. You need to have your range, and they're all equally good. Probably about 10 years ago, I traveled around to Europe and to Australia and Canada and just talked to people about what are different ways that we can finance shows, what are different ways we can produce shows, can we co-produce with international partners so that they can be a little less expensive for all of us. If the BBC is doing a show in the UK and they're paying £1 million per episode, which is very, very inexpensive for us, we could throw in another $500,000 to make to make it a little bit more of a premium product. I think for the most part, I was looked at like I was crazy 10 years ago. And we were sort of persistent with it, and over the years, we just kept talking to people, and then as the world changed and other people needed this type of programming, what we realized was that the majors, it's hard for them to do it. They have a system in place that is expensive, and there's a process in place where because of their distribution deals, they need this premium product to sell around the world. Independents aren't so hamstrung. And what we started to find is that there are a lot of companies out there that can produce shows that are network quality for half the price of what a major studio is producing the show for. The first one at ABC that really broke through from a scripted front, on the alternative front, there have been shows that have come from independents for a long time, but on the scripted front, it's hard. And Rookie Blue was the first one at ABC that really broke through and was a successful show. I think people watching it at home don't see it as any different than, they can't tell whether it's a $4 million drama or a $2 million drama. And what we've discovered is that now there's a rainbow of opportunities here. You can come up with ways to finance shows internationally, so you can pay $3 million in production per episode by co-financing throughout the world. But there are companies that also can spend $1.8 million and produce a show that looks like network quality because of it's a Canadian production or just the alternate models. So again, most of that opportunity right now is with you guys. It's with the independents. And now, in any given week, we are getting multiple submissions for these shows. So there's a lot of opportunity, and it's really changed dramatically, I'd say, in the last 6 months. Everyone is now wanting to get into this business.
Did you mention to me on the phone at one point that you felt the networks are going back in the TV movie business?
We would like to get back in the TV movie business, and that is a hard business for a network to get into because of, networks are still basically a one-run business. Maybe you can take a second run of a show. If you go back again, probably 10 years, maybe 15 years now, the networks were doing over 100 TV movies a year, and they all went away because financially they just didn't work. Now, there are a lot of companies out there that are coming to us with pitches for TV movies where the network license fee is actually very affordable. So I think you're going to start seeing more of them on TV over the next few years.
Now, if you look at the major networks, not just your network, do you feel that there is a true interest in independent product, or do you think it's a bit of, by a lot of people, lip service, but they want to play in the same playing field with their reliable, usual suppliers? You think that openness is really real?
Well, it's so funny. This might sound naive. I don't think the networks care where the show comes from if it's the right price and the right show. I don't think they look at it and saying, that's coming from an independent. We're not doing that. That's coming from Warner Brothers. We're going to treat that preferentially. I don't think that's the way it is, especially when it comes to this type of product.
If you look at shows like Rookie Blue and Flashpoint, which are Canadian shows that are airing, I think, in the summer, do you consider that like filler programming at low cost, which is frowned upon by a lot of the executives? Or do you think that's a real model, making a series in Canada in co-production, selling it to a network for much less money? Do you think that's a business that will grow or can grow?
It absolutely will grow and can grow. From a scheduler's perspective, it's frustrating to us because you always hear these discussed as, people come in and pitch these shows and you're talking about them internally and they're saying, well, we need a drama for summer. And we keep saying, why does it have to be for summer? Why can't we put a show on in season? That it's like, it doesn't matter whether it's summer or January. If it's, if the cost works better for the summer, how fantastic would it be to have that in season? And I think, I know at NBC we've definitely gotten there. Hannibal was one of these lower cost models, and it premiered in season in a premiere time period.
So if someone has a project who has financing, who has like the Canadian possible elements and all of that, do they go through your business affairs, through you, or do they go through the development process? What's the access?
The access is, at NBC, it's multiple ways of access. Because at ABC, we actually had a separate group, which was me and one other person, who fielded all of these alternative production model shows. A lot of it's still coming through me. A lot of it's going right to Bob Greenblatt, and it gets sent to me. But it's coming to our development people now, because now the agencies are getting more involved in this. And I think as they're seeing more and more of these get on the air, they're realizing what an opportunity is. We picked up Crossing Lines for this summer, which is another international co-production, lower cost, but it's not a low-cost production. It's just a lower license fee. So that is a $3.2 million per episode show. So the models really, really have changed.